think it's probably safe to say most of us have a traumatic memory or two buried deep in our brain. Memories that we would probably like to get rid of once and for all.
Those painful feelings can really take a heavy toll on us for years, even decades. But Michelle Bernhardt, our Inner World Guide, has spent some time with a trailblazing scientist who has some very good news for us.
Her name is Francine Shapiro, and she's created a therapy called EMDR, which helps people let go of deeply buried trauma and transform their lives. It's so effective, it's been recommended by the American Psychiatric Association, the U.S. Department of Defense, and the World Health Organization. And it's being used by psychotherapists all over the world. EMDR stands for Eye Movement Desensitization and Reprocessing. It's a way of finding and then releasing the feelings and memories, sometimes dating back to childhood, that are stuck in our body, that still cause us pain, and that in some cases hold us back.
So many different things that happen automatically, just life, actually are stored in our memory networks. And they can get stored with the emotions and the physical sensations and the beliefs we had at the time. We call them unprocessed memory because the brain hasn't digested them. And they can stay that way for the rest of our life. And so we go through life feeling, I must be shameful, I must be bad, people don't care about me. And then we act in ways that bring that about in our life, not being able to connect, not feeling good enough to be loved. And again, it's just the way the memory is stored in the brain. So when people come for EMDR therapy, we prepare them in a certain way. We find that memory, we access it, and then we process it.
The most commonly used EMDR technique involves having the client focus on the therapist's fingers as they move back and forth across the field of vision. In addition, auditory tones are sometimes used, along with tapping or other forms of tactile stimulation. Rachel Irwin is an expert in EMDR therapy.
One of the wonderful things about EMDR is that you're able to have people go back to the original memory of the traumatic event. They don't have to tell the story, they can if they would like to, but it allows people to go back into that moment, that image. And then we pull together the cognition, the emotion, and the sensation that goes along with that moment that allows the memory to move through the nervous system to completion.
The goal in EMDR therapy is to access those memories and to process them, allow them to be digested, allow the appropriate connections to be made. And then it's gone. You're liberated.
Just stay with that, Stacy. You're doing great.
Stacy Calvino came to an EMDR therapist for help in dealing with the death of her husband.
There were two aspects. One was wishing I could have done more, which was the first session we worked on. The second one was the imagery, how he looked, and letting go of that. And your question was, do I feel like I'm past that? And the answer is yes. I still miss him, so it does still bring up emotion, but it's not about those feelings any longer. But absolutely healed those two issues that I had for sure.
And you said in 2 sessions?
In 2 sessions, yes.
So what you saw me doing with my fingers is how EMDR is taught and trained. It's using the eye movements, eye movement desensitization, and reprocessing. When you utilize the eye movements, it will allow the memories to be opened up and processed so that you have the healthy learning and you let go of any negative beliefs and you develop new beliefs around the trauma. So you still have the memory, but it doesn't necessarily have the emotional charge or the negative belief system with it.
EMDR has also been mobilized to help treat major natural and man-made disasters.
In 1995, the Oklahoma City bombing occurred, and we got a call from an FBI agent who had had EMDR therapy and was in Oklahoma and said, could we do something because the mental health professionals there were dropping like flies. In other words, they were traumatized by what they were hearing, and they were also part of this being victimized by this terrible event that had occurred. So we flew in clinicians to do an assessment, and then we arranged for pro bono trainings for the clinicians there, and also pro bono treatment for the frontline providers and for the victims. And we found we were getting about an 85% success rate within 3 sessions, which was almost identical to a research article that had been published that year. We saw it was important to do, and so we started the EMDR Humanitarian Assistance Program, and now we have provided pro bono treatment after just about every natural and man-made disaster in the U.S., Katrina, the Boston Marathon casualties, the 9/11.
But Francine Shapiro also emphasizes that trauma in our lives does not originate only with major accidents or catastrophes.
Research is very clear. These negative experiences that happen in childhood get locked in the brain the same way a major trauma has occurred, and no amount of talking about it is going to get it to shift. And no, you can't just say, I should snap out of it, and if I can't snap out of it, then there's something even worse wrong with me, and you just end up feeling worse and worse about yourself, when the bottom line is it's a physical problem. And if you take the opportunity to go to an EMDR therapist, we can identify the memory that's at the bottom of the problem, prepare you in a certain way, and allow it to process so that it's your own brain doing the healing.
EMDR is widely available, but Francine Shapiro says that when choosing a therapist, make sure they were trained in a program authorized by EMDR National Association in the US. She's also written a book titled Getting Past Your Past, I love that name, to provide self-help techniques like those used in EMDR therapies. But what Francine Shapiro emphasized in our time together was that trauma is as much a physical as a psychological problem and needs to be treated that way.
Right. Well, that's a theme we've heard over and over in your series this season. Trauma is a physical problem that can be addressed and can be healed.
Yes, I think we have to look at the body as a wonderful Geiger counter because it lets us know where our hot spots are. It's like an outer map to our inner world.
Well, I really like that metaphor.
And Francine Shapiro echoed what we've heard before from other experts in this field. When we release the trauma trapped inside us, we emerge stronger and more empowered. I was also moved by what she told me about a rape victim who started the EMDR process with an attitude of, I'm shameful and powerless, and then emerged from it saying, the shame's his, not mine. I'm a strong, resilient woman. Look what I went through.
What a powerful example of someone who is really using trauma as a portal for transformation. Thanks, Michelle, for another fabulous segment of our Inner World Journey. Now, I can't wait to see what you're going to bring us next week. But right now, we have more to share with you. We'll find out why that old advice about shaking it off could actually turn out to be true. And our healing moment shows us the beauty of fall.